你吃了吗？
吃饭了吗？
你吃了吗？
您吃好了吗？
When people greet you in China, they often ask 吃饭了吗 or have you eaten? The phrase is to Chinese as talking about the weather is to the British. Across China, harvest is in full swing. The fields are alive with the activity of tractors, harvesters and people, nowhere more so than this province in northeast China. Welcome to Heilongjiang, which has more farmland than anywhere else in the country, earning it the accolade of the granary of China. October 16 marks World Food Day, which raises awareness about the supply and distribution of food. So I've come here to find out how China can feed its 1.4 billion people. This is Xinhua Special, and I'm Helen Bentley. Known for its fertile black soil, Heilongjiang produces more grain than anywhere else in the country. This, however, wasn't always the case. 70 years ago, it was known as the Great Northern Wilderness, before a land reclamation project was launched to help New China feed its starving people. I'm about to meet Mr. Li. His father came here in the 1960s, one of over 1 million people who answered the call to relocate and transform this once sprawling hinterland into arable land. Li Guotai started to work the land in the late 1980s. At that time, only soybeans and wheat were grown here, neither of which had a particularly high yield. Since 1996, after much of his land was converted to paddy and better farming equipment was brought in, his annual yield more than doubled, and there was enough local interest to establish a cooperative.
在大机械的帮助下，我们成为新型的农民。以前我们种地要在农田里头辛辛苦苦的干上10个月，现在我们大大的减少了劳动时间。2020年，带领我的合作社的员工扩大再生产，扩大水稻种植规模，要将水稻发展1万亩。
Heilongjiang today is worlds apart from the land that Mr. Li's father was faced with. The whole region has had huge success in replacing animals and human labour with mechanical power. Shang Yawen, Vice Director of Qingde Li Farm, explains.
这个农业要发展呢，就要插上科技的翅膀。播种的时候都是用电动播种机、电动覆土机；插的时候用这个高速机插侧人施肥机。健身防病的时候，我们都采用的是无印机；收割的时候，我们都用的是高性能那个收割机。现在我们农场呢是机械化率呢实现了99.8%。
Farms in the local area are also using biodynamic farming methods to grow better quality crops.
以前我们使用的都是常规的散大肥，就是所谓的氮磷钾。现在我们使用叫生物有机肥，实现了绿色环保发展。实现了稻田养蛙、稻田养虾、稻田养鱼，真正做到了一地双收、一水两用、一季双赢。
As Xiong explained, machines now do the grunt work, helping farmers like Mr. Li grow crops more efficiently. Teams across the province are assisting farmers to upgrade to these new processes. People like Mr. Li's son, who, upon graduating his city college, returned to the countryside to take up this role.
目前农场的发展日新月异，也深深地吸引着我。在这里，我有展示自己的平台，有好的发展，能帮助到我家乡的父老乡亲，这是我所自豪的。
Farmers like Mr. Li are just the first stage of the supply chain. Rice is sent to factories like this one, where each individual grain goes through 14 different processes, from being dehusked to sorted to polished before it's finally bagged up, ready for sale.
我们拥有全自动化生产线，每年生产大米6万余吨，主要销往全国各地20多个省市自治区。
China has pledged to never have less than 120 million hectares of farmland. 13 million hectares of that arable land is here in Heilongjiang, and from that black soil comes 1/9 of the country's grain. Last year, the province's annual grain output topped 75 million tonnes, retaining first place nationwide for 8 years on the trot. Nationally, according to a recent white paper on food security, annual grain output has risen nearly 5 times over the past 7 decades, and today, China's per capita food output exceeds the world average. With less than 9% of the world's arable land, China feeds nearly a fifth of the people on the planet. Globally, the number of hungry people had been declining, but according to the Food and Agriculture Organization, that's not the case anymore. More than 820 million people across the world do not have enough to eat. It's a global problem and one of the issues that the World Food Programme works tirelessly on.
Food security, it is a very challenging by itself for all nations. And China have already really, achieved a lot on that. And we can share the China experience with countries whom they are suffering, like China, which suffered 70 years ago.
During a trip here last year, President Xi Jinping said that the rice bowl of the Chinese people in any situation must be firmly held in our own hands, signalling that China is taking steps to ensure that its people never face food insecurity ever again. The self-sufficiency rate of China's major grains sat comfortably above 95% in 2017. But having enough food on the table is one thing. What about beyond that?
Food security is not only just, it's the first step of it. You have to look at the quality of the food, you have to look at the nutrition of the people. And that is the second step, which is China now is working on it. And I'm hoping that in few years, this will be another success story of China, which we also can share it with other nations, and other nations can also come and see what China have achieved on this one.
Reform and opening up took root in rural China in 1978, and the resultant policies helped grow countryside productivity. For the past 15 years, the first policy document released by the Chinese government has been related to the countryside. This year, it included commitments to improve farming technology and support areas such as biological breeding and smart agriculture. The message was clear: China must continue to improve the country's food systems and support rural modernisation. China's priorities have shifted. Its people are fed. So now the focus is on how to feed them well. So rather than have you eaten, it should be more a case of 你吃好了吗? Have you eaten well? See you next time.